I'm interested in social evolution, and if you look around at the world, the other kinds of animals in the world, um, there are three kinds of organisms that dominate the planet, and those are humans, ants, and termites. More than any other. And people are obsessed with primate behavior because they're our closest relatives genetically. There's just a finding that came out showing that I think it was a chimpanzee. They observed one chimpanzee actually using insects to treat a wound on another chimpanzee. And that, I mean, that's just pretty incredible. It's kind of behavior. Wow, look at that. But if you look at ants and termites and humans, those are the only three animals that live in city-states of millions of people. They're the only animals that have agriculture in the sense that they produce their own food supply, which of course gives them a tremendous advantage. So they dominate the planet. Ants actually, they have warfare among ant colonies, very organized warfare. There's a group called a Very Large Colony in California that's been in this war with another group for decades, and millions of ants are killed in battles each year between those two colonies. The Pentagon actually studies these ant warfare for tactics. They use them in training, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah, the ants even have suicide bombers. They have these ants that go into enemy lines and blow themselves up. They're the only other animals, ants and termites, with complex divisions of labor. Dozens and dozens of different occupations geared to certain tasks. So for me, when I stumbled on this stuff, it was just amazing. How can we, every tiny little behavior of a primate, we ooh and ah, but all around us are these things that really operate just like human societies broadly speaking. Ultrasociality. This came from work I did with Lisi Kroll, a colleague at SUNY Cortland. And we started this stuff, I guess, maybe 12, 15 years ago. And it turns out her background is very similar to mine. She also has an undergraduate degree in anthropology. She's very sympathetic to hunter-gatherers. So about the same time, I started working with David Wilson, and we had a grant to do a series of workshops at Duke University. So I met a lot of biologists, including some ant biologists, that sort of turned me on to this stuff. But ultrasociality, the way Lisi and I define it, we sort of center on agriculture. These are societies, and the pioneer in this was a guy named Donald Campbell, who started writing most of the work of his I know started in the 70s. But so ultrasociality, as we found, again, we focus on agriculture and cultivating crops. So as hunter-gatherers, we lived off flows from the environment, day-to-day flows. So, if you did something wrong, say the economies were sustainable because they had to be. If you over-harvested or over-hunted, then it became right back to bite you. It was clear what you were doing. It also kept the population stable. It also encouraged egalitarian societies because it really was a knowledge economy. Growing up in one of these cultures, you had the knowledge you knew to make a living, the plants together and the seasons and all that. So ultrasociality with agriculture, we broke out of that and started, instead of living off flows, we started producing for surplus. So we took control of the production of food, from beginning to end, clearing land, tilling the soil, planting crops, eliminating species that threaten the crops, and so on. It led to an incredible explosion in the division of labor. And also, with ultrasociality, let me just throw this in. We'll probably come back to it later. But humans have castes, and ants do not, which surprises a lot of people. Caste meaning hereditary wealth that's passed on. Only the queen breeds in ant colonies, so the workers are sterile, so they don't have descendants. There's nothing to pass on. So that makes human society different, and it's also created a lot of problems.